What is going on, guys? Welcome to Big Green Counter-Strike Bets. On this channel, I'm going to be doing breakdowns, overviews, and I'll be giving my predictions and bets for upcoming CS matches. We're also going to be getting into fantasy picks pretty soon in the future, so if you want more of all that, be sure to smash the sub and like button. I'm just getting started on this thing, and it goes a long way to help it get off the ground, so it's much appreciated. All right, there's a lot of matches coming up tomorrow that we're going to go over. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I possibly can. Hopefully, I don't go over too much. But there's a lot to get into. So tomorrow we have on the 5th of July we have IEM Cologne the play-ins. These are all going to be best of ones, so we got to keep that in mind when we're approaching this. That this is best of ones is anything can happen. This is Counter Strike, so the upsets are live really. I say that, but at the same time, most of these matches seem pretty straightforward. There's clear favorites in all of them, and barring some crazy mistakes and things like that, most of the favorites should get it done here. Um, but yeah, let's get into it. So first up, we're going to have Spirit and Complexity. And looking at this right off the bat, I mean, Complexity is just, they've been a huge disappointment. I feel bad for the guy that's running this team because it couldn't really be much worse. They've shown basically no results at all. I mean, you can look right here at their match history. See, the last time that they won was against IHC, a Mongolian team, in a best of one, and that was close. Um, the team just really is not clicking. I think you've got, let's see what we have. Most of the players are sub one rating. I mean, Junior, what can we even say about Junior? This guy can't op. I mean, feel bad for him at this point a little bit. But yeah, they just don't have the firepower to compete with Spirit, really. I mean, looking at it, Magix, you got Patsy. If Magix and Patsy are going off, there's just no way really for Complexity to get in this game. I mean, they've got Floppy, poor guy over here. Right. Okay. So when we're looking at these best of ones, we want to take into account how this is going to be picked, how the veto is going to work. So we've got the ESL rulebook here, and it'll show you. For the best of ones, it's going to be the higher seeded team will choose to be Team A or Team B. We're just going to assume that they're going to choose to be Team A. So the higher seeded team is going to remove the first map, and then the next team will remove the following two maps. The first team removes the next two maps again, and then Team B will remove the final map, leaving the one that's going to be played. So let's get back over here. So Spirit is going to be the higher seeded team here, so I'm going to assume that they will ban Inferno. It's got to take all this with a grain of salt because really Spirit have the firepower to dominate Complexity on every map, really. So you would assume that they're going to just keep their permaban Inferno and ban that right out, straight out. And if that's the case, I think that Complexity will probably follow by banning Mirage and Dust 2, the permaban Mirage, and then they haven't been playing Dust too much. Although they may choose to ban Ancient because it's such a good map for Spirit right now, and I mean, it's just abysmal for them. Really, all of their maps are abysmal, but Ancient especially seems pretty bad. So we'll see where that ends up. And then from there, I would, it's if Ancient gets through on that, Spirit could try to set it up where they let Ancient and Nuke come through. Nuke is the best map for Complexity, but I really don't think Spirit are considering that at all. I mean, 67% win rate, but it's against, American teams and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Spirit let that come through since they're probably so confident in it. Um, all in all, I think there's basically no chance for Complexity here. I mean, they've just shown nothing. They're really disorganized. They don't seem to have any cohesion. They're not clicking. Their Opper is just, he's not on the server. Now, Spirit are missing Dexter, who just left recently, but I don't even think that's going to be a factor, really. I don't know much about Wonderful. I've heard some good things, but I haven't seen anything firsthand. Um, so I guess we'll just see what happens here. I'm expecting Spirit to really run away with this one, though, and make Complexity look kind of silly. Especially, I mean, Magix, my boy Boris here. I mean, this guy, his name is it's appropriate because he's got some special clutches and really good IQ. Seen him pull off some crazy multi kills. So if him and Patsy are online, it's just going to be too much for complexity to deal with, regardless of what map it goes to. So I think it'll come down to Ancient or Nuke maybe, and let them pick their poison. And complexity are going to be done and out of this one. Um, okay, let's look at the next one here. Mouz versus Pain. So I think this has the potential to be an extremely close match, maybe one of the closer matches of the day. Um, Mouz has really been in a slump lately. They were looking good, when they had the new roster. They brought Torzy up and they it slotted NBK in. He had a nice veteran on the team, helping Dexter call. I don't know. Ever since they brought JDC up, and I'm a JDC enjoyer. Like I really liked him on Mouse NXT. I thought he was phenomenal. Um, really high impact. And I figured that when they brought him up and replaced NBK, I figured it'd be a huge upgrade. But really, I think that they looked better with NBK. They've been struggling recently and have been pretty inconsistent, not very convincing since they added JDC to the roster. I don't know if that's just chemistry issues or they're still trying to work out the system, or if NBK really did help Dexter call that much. Maybe just another veteran voice in the team was helping him out. But in my opinion, they looked better with NBK. Um, as you can see here, they've, mixed results as of late. No shame in losing to Vitality, NIP close match. But I thought this was a little surprising. The Eternal Fire loss, especially. Um, so we'll see what happens with that one. Uh, I would probably play this from a live betting angle. Just wait to see. I mean, these best of ones, the odds can really swing. Momentum is going to play a big factor. Teams might go on a streak, and then you get plus 1,000, and 2 rounds later it's down to plus 200. So you really just got to watch the odds and look for value here, I think. Um, Payne has been showing some good form and bursts lately. Let's take a look here. Again, I mean, you can look at the level of competition. You do have to take that into account. That, I mean, really, they're just stomping on Brazilian and American teams, just like low-level garbage, which they should be. But still, it's like every time they go up against a European team or, a team above them, they really they tend to get slapped down. Although they did have some good performances recently. Well, I mean, it's maybe a couple months ago now, but they had a nice little stretch here where they beat Liquid, MIBR, 2-0'd Furia. That was a huge upset, and it was all pretty convincing. They were just kind of on fire right here. Um, and then they kind of regressed to the mean a little bit. They did have a good game against Vitality on the 16th of June here. Well, you know, maybe not a good series, but they had a good map. I'll say that. So, I mean, it started out as you would expect. They got absolutely slapped down on Nuke 3-16, and it was one of those where you think it's just going to be Vitality. The next map might be a damn 16-0. Like Vitality just looked like they were a class above them, and get onto the next map, and Pain just looked great. They were just firing on all cylinders, and they managed to take Vitality's map pick away from them. I just remember they looked really good in that match, and it's like if they can hit that stride and stay at or close to their ceiling, like they can do damage, but then you see the next map they went 4-16 again. So it's kind of that's the thing. It's like there's these bursts of good form, but it's not sustained. Um, but I mean, this is a best of one, so it doesn't need to be sustained. They just need to get one good streak, get some momentum, like a lot of these Brazilian teams tend to do. They seem to be very momentum based. They can get on a good run and everyone's shooting well. They're playing aggressive and they can just kind of overwhelm teams sometimes. So you do have to be aware of that. All in all, I think Mouse should take this. Really, I mean, they kind of have to. This is an important win for them. It'll be one of their worst losses. Um, yeah, probably one of their worst losses in a while if they do take this loss. So I'm expecting them to get it. Go from losing to Ents, there's no shame in that. But then you lose to Eternal Fire, and now if they lose to Pain, I mean, they're showing steady signs of regression at that point, and then that would, kind of be an indicator that maybe this JDC thing was not such a great idea. Um, but we're gonna have to see what happens with that. I think that they're gonna take it though, because it's important for them, and pain tends to they tend to kind of choke when they go up against higher level teams. So we'll see. But I would play live odds there and just look for good opportunities. If a team, maybe say, a team might get a good start, go down 0-4 or something like that. That's totally normal. And then get a comeback from there. So you might want to just see if you can grab good odds on that. Let's take a look. Yeah, so I mean, you can see that they have the same first pick for most of these 60% and 77% first pick for each team on Nuke. So it might be another one of those situations where they have similar best maps, and depending on how they're feeling, they might want to just try their luck there if they're confident in their game on that map. So we might get a good one there. Another one here, Ancient. Pain is pretty good, one of their best maps, and 100% win rate for Mouse. So I don't know, I could see them going for that too. And if that's the case, then I think the upset is more live. So just look out for that. But again, this is an important win for Mouse. They really need to get this one. And a lot of these stats are skewed for Pain as well, because the competition is just, the level is so much lower. If we take a look here, I mean, ATK, EG, CD, Mythic, Carpe Diem, freaking Gaming Gladiators. I mean, like, what are we doing here? And all these are, their win rates look incredible. You're like, wow, 80%, 79%, 77%, 75%. Like, that looks really good. But you've got to remember that, you know, they're 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 playing bots here, really. Okay, next up we got Sprout and Heroic. So this one, I'm pretty excited for this one. This is going to be the first match with Jabby since they got rid of Refresh. Rest in peace. I think this is going to be a really good upgrade for Heroic. Jabby is really just like a sick gamer, sick roach gamer. This guy he's going to be finding heads. I'm pretty sure he's got a super high headshot percentage as well. I think it was like 58 or 57% or something. I mean, this guy he's blowing people up. Um, okay, yeah. So overall, Heroic, the firepower is just going to be too much here, I think. Sprout have shown good results in the past. They can hit a high ceiling, but just in general, I just don't think that they have the firepower here. Kadian has been solid lately on the op. Stavin is just ridiculous. The multi kills, the IQ, the versatility. He can play anything, op, rifle, whatever. He's been on fire lately, and also, we have Jabby coming in now, so that's going to be a big upgrade. And you tend to get a lot of times with these kinds of moves, you'll get like a honeymoon period at the start. So I'm expecting them to kind of, be playing free and be playing well with Jabby. It's kind of exciting. You get a new player, especially one that can increase the potential of the team. It kind of it gives everyone a little lift, and everyone plays better, it seems like. So I'm expecting that here. And it's going to really help out. Uh, Heroic already have a good map pool, a great map pool. You can see Sprout doesn't permaban anything, which can be difficult. I mean, it's not easy to have 7 maps and play them all well. So we're gonna have Heroic banning Dust 2, obviously, and that really, if you look at it, the only chance I think that Sprout have in this is if it goes to something like Ancient. Historically, Heroic have been pretty garbage on Ancient. It's just like really uninspired T sides and just disconnected play. They just don't look the same on Ancient as they do on other maps. But I think that Jabby is really going to help that out. He, he was a great Ancient player on Copenhagen Flames. That was one of their best maps. I think they took. I think they beat G2 on it in one of the majors, and a couple other teams that were really good at Ancient. So I think the addition of Jabby is really going to help that out, help their Ancient out, and open up a lot. Let's see here. I mean, if we go here, we take a look at Refresh. His overall rating 1.08, And then if we go to the maps, see if we can find this here. Oh, here we go, maps. So let's take a look at just a random map here. Let's take a look at Nuke. Okay, 1.08 on Nuke, and then let's take a look at his Ancient. Take off Nuke here. Yeah, so we got a pretty significant drop from his average, 0.91 on Ancient. I feel like I remember him kind of dropping the ball here a lot, just not a lot of impact, questionable plays and decisions. You know, he really wasn't a great Ancient gamer. Whereas you look at Yabby here, 1.03 overall. Let's go to Ancient, 1.11, and yeah, you know, this guy is just a grimy gamer. He gets in all the nasty little roach spots, and he just knows how to work that map. He's a good Ancient gamer, so I'm expecting that to really help them out in that aspect of their map pool. So I'm excited to see that if that does come through. Overall, though, I think that it's just going to be too much for them, regardless of what map it goes to. You know, everyone on Heroic is solid, and that's why, you know, a lot of people were even questioning the removal of Refresh, because it's not that he was bad. I mean, he was a good player, and Heroic has, you know, been a top 5 team for a while now, either winning events or you know, placing well in them. But you know, you just reached that stagnation point, and he was the weakest link. So it's time for some new blood and see what happens here. Um, Heroic just had a pretty good. I mean, they're in form right now. They're on a 5-match win streak, so this is a really good time to peak for them for Cologne. Um, they're coming off that Pinnacle Cup win. They won the whole tournament, beating Astralis in the grand finals. Blame F, who won the MVP, even though his team lost the. You know, they didn't win the tournament. The guy is just insane. He had like I don't know if it was 1.5. It was like 1.4 maybe, something insane. His rating on CT side for that tournament. Um, and they handled Astralis pretty well, and big, and you know, so they're in good shape right now. I don't really see Sprout taking this, bar some weird upset, or if for some reason they just are not clicking, which can happen with a new player. But I don't know. Something tells me that Jabby's just going to slot right in here, and it's not going to be a problem. I'm expecting Heroic to take this pretty comfortably. All right, moving on here. Okay, next up we have Outsiders and Imperial. Okay. Got to be careful what I say here, you know. Brazilian fans are going to get very upset. You can see here if you look at the you know, the HLTV like winners picked percentage from the public. Outsiders are 35.6%. Don't go by this to make your bets, because this is, you know, depending on what community, what country's team is playing, these will be skewed massively. You'll see anytime Eternal Fire could be playing you know, they could be playing Cloud9, they could be playing FaZe, and Eternal Fire would be like 80% favored, just because the amount of people from that country that come in and vote. So don't pay too much attention to that. But yeah, I don't really see Imperial having a chance here either. I know that Outsiders did just make some changes. They recently got rid of Buster and Yakindar and replaced them with Norbert and Fame from K23. But these guys have slotted in pretty well. They just played and lost to Movistar Riders actually yesterday at the ESL Challengers Valencia in the grand finals, and that was an incredible game. They looked good, you know. I think, I don't know what the score on the map that Outsiders won was, but I know that the other two maps were 14-16, and Outsiders were in control up until the end, where they just made, you know, it was just a couple poor decisions, and it swings the other way. But they were a victim to comebacks and upsets in both of those maps there, so that was kind of unfortunate for them. Um, but yeah, this is another. There's a lot of these situations here where I think the firepower is just going to be too much. I mean, Imperial, it's like every one of these players is like, you know, 30 plus years old. Not everyone, but the average age is extremely high, and almost all of these players are past their prime. Let me take a look at the ratings here. It's not terrible, but I don't know. I don't see Imperial being able to put together a plan to take down Outsiders here, who are just too solid. The map pool does not favor them either. Um, you know, Outsiders Permaban is one of the worst maps for Imperial that they do play, so they're not going to be. It doesn't help them in any way. You've got Ancient here, which is, you know, I think it's the permaben for Imperial here, so that's not going to help them either. And then the rest of the maps, I favor Outsiders on every one of these: Dust 2, Mirage, Inferno, Overpass, Vertigo, especially Vertigo. I mean, I've seen Imperial on Vertigo, and it is not pretty. It does not look good. Um, so they're kind of trapped here in the map pick, and unless they have one of these, I mean, look at this. Just look at their match history. Ever since their major performance, the fluke against Cloud9, I still, I really believe that was more Cloud9 choking and not performing up to their capabilities than Imperial, pulling off some miraculous thing. They did look good. They were playing well. They were hitting their stride, but Cloud9 just didn't put anything up. Shiro's performance on that Mirage map, you could tell that they were just not there. They had checked out, and they were just given the win to Imperial, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, ever since that major run, they have just looked absolutely garbage. They haven't won a single match. So I mean, they do get land buffs, which you could say that's what went on at the major, and this will be a land, so you've got to watch out for that. These are all veteran players. A lot of them have won majors, so just be aware of that. I wouldn't go betting the house on this or anything, but I do think that Outsiders have everything in place to take this one pretty easily. Jame, like the clutches from Jame, if he gets on the bomb site and he has op with him, he's more than likely going to win it, you know. Uh, Especially on like maps like Inferno, it's pretty incredible just the way he puts together some of those clutches. Um, so I don't know. I don't really see a path to victory for Imperial, bar some just crazy momentum off the start. It is a best of one again, so anything can happen. It's just one map, but I think Outsiders will play this pretty carefully, and I think they'll get it done. Inferno is a good map for Imperial. I do remember seeing them look pretty decent on it, but I don't know. Outsider's just too strong, man. Jame time, it's real. Flit is an excellent rifler. Fame and Norbert have slotted in very well. They look good. They're firing on all cylinders. So Outsiders are probably going to veto Nuke here. Well, they definitely will veto Nuke. Imperial veto Ancient and Vertigo, and then yeah, Outsiders have their way pretty much. Um, Other than that, there's not much to this really. I don't see a reason to deviate from that. All right, next up we have Big and Order. Okay, so I don't. There's like wood around here I can knock on or something. If there's ever anything as such thing as a lock, I would say this is it. I mean, Order is just some of the worst. It's one of the worst like teams that you'll see like partnered and in a lot of events. They were formerly Renegades. They're the infamous 0-3 team for everyone's pick'ems at the Antwerp Major. They were my 0-3, and they did come through with the 0-3. They couldn't beat anybody. Did they get 2-0'd by IHC? Yeah, I mean, they got 2-0'd by a Mongolian team. It's just another one of these teams that it's like complexity where they're grinding, they're doing their thing, they're going to the events, but they just always seem lost and uninspired. 2-0'd by For the Win, 2-0'd by IHC. The only teams that they really have any chance against are Australian, like domestic teams and American teams. It's just another one of those situations where if it's a European team or any other team that's in the top 50 or anything like that, they're just going to fold. They're just going to roll over and die. They just have nothing to show. So I'm not expecting anything out of this, especially with Big really hitting their form. I mean, Big have looked sharp. I saw them at IEM Dallas, where Cloud9 took them out. They looked decent actually to start that series, and then since then they've just been on fire. You know, and Tropic, FaZe, Eternal Fire with former Big members Antares, Cloud9. Those are all quality wins, and they were these two especially, Cloud9 and FaZe in the oh my God, what did they just in the Rubet Cup? That was very impressive. That was shocking, actually, the way that they handled Cloud9. And Cloud9 had been playing pretty well, in their matches before that, but Big just handled them. I mean, they're starting to look like a well-oiled machine. Um, their protocols and their system has really been coming through a lot. Um, they Big loves to play the strategic Counter Strike, the typical German way. They like to have lots of protocols. They got systems. They have strats. Um, and it's coming together. Surson is looking like a beast. Um, he's historically the one thing you got to consider with Surson is that people always rag on him for being like an online player. He tends to do better when he's playing from his room and things like that. You'll often see if they are at the boot camp and Surson has a choice, he won't even be there. He'll be on the camera and it streaming from his room, and everyone else is at the boot camp. So, I think he's been breaking out of that a little bit recently. His land performances have gotten better, but I don't think that's a factor here at all. It's just this is going to be big bank take little bank. I mean, the quality of the players, everything is better for big. You could maybe look at people might point to that they have a stand-in that Keto is playing instead of Favin, but even a player like Keto, he is far and above anything that they have on order. I mean, the quality of player of Big's worst player is twice as good as anything that order can bring. So it's really, it's nothing to look at as an angle. It's I don't see any hope for them here. I really don't. I'm not even going to bother looking at the maps because I think that you could let Order, if it was a best of three, you could let Order pick both of the maps, and I think Big would 2-0 them on every one. So I take Big for this one. I think that's a pretty safe bet. And here we just had a little article about Keto being a stand-in. I guess Favin's got abdominal influenza, something going on. I don't know what that's about. I mean, he's been out for a while now, so hopefully he's all right. That's that sucks. All right, what do we got next here? All right, we got Astralis versus 00 Nation. Ugh, the worst logo. I mean, it's just incredible, actually. Like, I don't know who's running this org, but just some of the decision making, it's funny. It provides comedy, at least. Give it that. Um, 00 Nation, and then they call their academy team 00 Prospects, which is kind of hilarious in itself, especially considering the team did not do great. Um, so, poor 00 Prospects over there. We got they redesigned the logo and they somehow made it even worse. Their original logo was absolutely terrible, that broken heart thing, and they made it even worse. So, bravo. But talking about the game, this is one where it makes me a little nervous. Astralis should really win this, and these are the kinds of games that Astralis always seem to find a way to lose. They've been very up and down, since the original core broke up and all that. Astralis really haven't like hit a consistent stride. They've had again like flashes of greatness. There was like a period where Config was playing insane, dropping like 30 bombs all over the place, and then he's since kind of just went missing. He's been very quiet lately. Farlig, he was okay to start. Could tell that he wasn't ready for the spotlight, so to say. But he's been finding confidence lately. He's been looking better and better. The past few events that they've played in, I've seen him, making some big plays, standing his ground a little more. So I like to see that. I think he's starting to come into his own here a little bit. Same with Zip. I mean, he had just looked garbage for the past couple months, and he is really like the weakest link of Astralis. He's the one thing that's holding them back. If they could get someone else to replace him, I think it would do a lot for the team, because a lot of his play has just been uninspired. Still, clutching a decent amount and things like that, but really like if you're trying to compete for the top 5 for top 1, you need more. Like all of your players have to be able to pop off, and he really has not been doing that lately. Um, as it like overall on the larger trend, he hasn't been popping off. But his last tournament, I think it was the Pinnacle Cup where they lost to Heroic. All up until there, he was playing great. Like he was playing phenomenal during that Pinnacle Cup. But that's like the first time he's really showed form, um, you know, in a good amount of time here. So I don't know what to expect from him. I hope he plays well, but I mean, blame F. This guy is his back muscles. It's just I can't even imagine. I can't imagine how much he can lift because he has to carry all four of these Danish dogs, and he does. I mean, this guy is dropping like 30 bombs regularly. His CT rating is, can be upwards of like 1.3, 1.4, and that's not an aberration. That's like pretty normal for him. Um, I mean, it's the guy is actually insane, and the whole, people say bait F, whatever this that, but the guy puts up frags, and he might not always be the highest impact, but the stats don't lie at some point. And when you're dropping that many kills, and your team's got to be able to do something with that. So getting into it a little more, um, Astralis really should ban Vertigo here. They're the higher seeded team, so they're going to be getting the first pick on the ban. They get to ban the first map, and then 00 Nation will ban the next two maps. So they really should ban Vertigo here. Um, they're another one of these teams that try to play all 7 maps, which is really difficult. And they've looked pretty bad on Vertigo. They've looked, obviously, you can see here 17% win rate. They've just looked horrible. Um, I'm trying to think of who they were playing against, but I just remember that it was a Vertigo map, and Blame F had 40 kills. I'm pretty sure he 40 bombed, and they still lost the map. And that's just one of those things where I feel a lot of times that's a symptom of a fundamental issue within like the team's approach to the map. When you see a guy that's got 35, 40 kills, and then your team still loses, that means something is going wrong. I feel like that can be deceiving. I mean, the player performed incredibly, obviously, but if your team can't capitalize on that, there's something going wrong making that happen. So I expect them to veto that right off the start. And then from there, I mean, this could go anywhere really, and I would favor Astralis. Astralis had been, people were touting them as the best ancient team for a long time, and they were looking really good, but then lately, the past month or so, they've been falling off a little. The T sides haven't looked as great. Um, I think the results have been pretty lackluster actually on Ancient. Let me see. Yeah, they haven't been doing too well on it as of late. So that might be an avenue for 00 Nation. Oh my god, got so many tabs here. Lost myself. And the other thing is we don't really know a lot about 00 Nation because this is such a new roster. This is Dumao, Lado, and Taco, these three from Godsent. They were just picked up recently and slotted in here. And I think they've only been together for 3 days now. They had their first official match 3 days ago. They got a nice 2-0 against Furia the other day, which was surprising to a lot of people. But again, in those domestic matchups, you get Brazil versus Brazil, Denmark versus Denmark. There's a higher percentage chance for upset, even between teams that are in different tiers. You can get those upsets a lot more for whatever reason. So that might play into 00 Nation's hand, at least, that there's not a lot of footage on them. Astralis might not really expect their strategies, like they might not know exactly how to play against them or what they like to do, so it's hard to anti-strat against that when you have no demos. Dumao, he was playing really well the other day, and he's a multi-fragging beast. Like if he's, fragging out and Lado and Try, then, could have an upset. It's a best of one. Um, I would say the players to watch would probably be Try and Dumao. Try had been getting for a while. He was getting a lot of hype. People were like touting him as one of the up and coming players when he was on 9Z, like I don't know, maybe like a year ago or a little less than that. I remember they had a really crazy upset over Vitality that shocked a lot of people. Nobody saw that one coming. And at that point, Try was just on fire with the op. He was looking fantastic. But he's definitely cooled down recently. He hasn't really been showing that flash or that level of play on 0 Nation. I'm not sure why that is. But yeah, I gotta if he's playing well, the duel between him and Farley is going to be an important um, deciding factor. I feel like here, if Try is getting the better of Farley a lot, that might open up an avenue for them. But like I said earlier, Farley has been playing a lot better. I think he's really found some confidence and he's taking more fights. He's making better decisions. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, I mean, if we can get all three of these guys online, Try, Dumao, and Lotto, I'm not really expecting much from Cold Zera or Taco. Um, but if we get you know, the three-star players here online and we get some momentum, yeah, Astralis can choke, especially if they're forced to close on T side or something like that, and they just can't get it going. A lot of times they just hit a wall on their T sides. Astralis do. Nothing seems to be working, and then they'll just lose. They'll drop like 9 rounds in a row or something, and then the game's over, and it's a best of one. So I would definitely pick Astralis here, but it's a dangerous bet because Astralis, the odds for them, I think, are like minus 450 or something. Let's have a look. Um, minus 435. So you're going to want to be careful with this one because they are definitely live for the upset. I don't think it'll happen though. I mean, 0 Nation, it's kind of a meme a little bit, but it is a new roster, and so just be careful of that. They do have some good players that can pop off, and Astralis have been known to choke and show bad form occasionally. So I would say Astralis will take this, but I would watch out for that. Um, especially if Blame F is not carrying. Config, we already talked about. He's been kind of quiet, and he hasn't really been performing like he was when he joined the team initially. Um, so it's really been up to Blame, and he's kind of been alone for a majority of these matches. And if he's not having one of his insane star performances, and Config is just as quiet, and Farlig is kind of okay, and Zip isn't there, could open up the door for something here. Um, but I'm gonna take Astralis. All right, and then we got our last match, I believe. Oh no, we have two more. I'm sorry. Okay, so we got MIBR versus Movistar Riders. I mean, this one is the potential is there for the upset. Obviously, Movistar Riders are going to be favored here. Movistar coming off a nice win, best win of the team's history, best win of these players' careers in ESL Challenger Valencia. They just took down. They had a nice run through it. Seemed easy for them, and then they closed it out, beating Outsiders with a 2-1 comeback reverse sweep in the best of three grand finals, and that was just that was a great performance, and it was really nice to see them get that win in front of their home crowd. It's the kind of thing you don't often see, that Cinderella story type of thing. By the end of the match, the whole crowd was really getting involved, and it was cool to see that. They pulled off a nice comeback on Vertigo and clinched out against Outsiders, who are a quality opponent. And it's not, especially in the long game, it's not easy to beat Outsiders. So I was very impressed by that. So they are, like we said, they are coming off the biggest win of their careers, and you do have to consider that was yesterday. Okay, today it's the 4th of July, America Day, and they had that win yesterday, July 3rd. So now on the 5th, tomorrow they're going to be playing in Germany. They have to fly to Germany and play this match. You've got to imagine that after having that insane win in front of their home crowd, where all their friends and family were around and all this stuff, they had to have gone. They're going out partying, getting laid, like they had to have, right? I mean, you get a win like that in front of your home crowd, you're going to celebrate. I know it. So you have to wonder if they're really prepared or if they're taking this match super seriously. I'm sure they are, because this is a very important tournament, but at the same time, they definitely may have gotten carried away that night, and then the next day they have to travel to another country. So that is one angle you can look at for just to be aware of. They might not be in tip-top shape and look super prepared, because they might just be kind of walking into this one, but that might also be complete bullshit. Um, so take that for what it is. But I am just thinking about that. Um, MIBR in pretty bad form right now. They've not been having a good time of things. They, on that run that we were just talking about from Movistar riders, Movistar took out MIBR on Nuke 16-3, embarrassed them. I mean, that's sad. I feel bad for the guys. So, they already did take them out in a best of one here pretty convincingly. So you got to look at that. And then the next game, MIBR has a match against Rare Atom, Chinese team, and they get 2-0'd. I mean, that was just brutal. And let's take a look here. That match was 2-0 for a Rare Atom, and this was a banger, 29-31. This match, quintuple overtime. I was watching it live, and man, that was I actually had a bet on Rare Atom 2-0, so I was, the whole time. We get to the third overtime, and I'm sitting there like I'm about to pass out because I'm just holding my breath for, a full second map basically that they went through. It is, I mean, 60 rounds of Counter Strike. Um, but yeah, so that was really rough for them. You're going to be thinking that they want to win here. They really need a win here. That would be pretty shitty if they went down, lose their 3 games in a row here. But Movistar, they're solid. They're playing well. They're hitting their stride, coming off a huge win. They're set up to take it. It's another one of those things where, barring some freak upset like the Counter Strike gods, it's just time for MIBR to win against these guys. I don't see how they're gonna take it. Um, they have some good players that pop off sometimes. BRNs, I've heard the casters call them like BRNs at some crazy shit. I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but um, he can pop off pretty hard. You got Joda and Cello; those are also solid players. But I like the system. I like the teamwork from Movistar. Been playing well. Just got a nice win. Confidence is high. I think Movistar will take it pretty convincingly. But just be aware, MIBR are going to want this win. They're probably, taking it pretty seriously. Um, and I'm sure they're going to put up a better fight than they did last time when they got 16-3'd. Um, so I'm taking Movistar. Okay, the last match here. All right, last match we have Vitality versus TYLOO, and you know this is very similar to the big order game. This is just going to be a stomp. Um, if it's anything other than a stomp, it'll be really embarrassing for Vitality. So they kind of have to, especially when you have former best player in the world, number 2 player in the world. This needs to be convincing. There's really not much to discuss here. I'm not considering the map pool really at all, especially because there's almost no data on TYLOO. They hardly ever, they're not playing a lot of European matches and not playing in a lot of higher level tournaments, so we don't really get to see them that often. Um, so it's hard to really take anything from this. And you just got to think, really, you're just looking at the quality of the players and the system here anyway. So I don't see a way for TYLOO to win this one. The only thing that they have that's decent to talk about, only redeeming quality, is Dan King. Really, I mean, this guy, I've seen him have some good plays, have some good moments. He's definitely got great aim, good decision making, but he's the only player on their team above a 1.0 rating, that's really poor. That's not a good sign, um, especially when you're going up against a team like Vitality that's got two you know multiple time major winners, all the experience in the world. You've got Zaiwu, God, 1.26 rating. He's going to be feeling pretty free, I would think, probably unthreatened. He's going to be running around the map, rotating all over them, just stomping on. I'm expecting him to just Goomba stomp them with the op. Um, so you know, like I said, I think the map pool is kind of irrelevant, and I'm just expecting a stomp here at minus 750. There's not really an angle to play this. You know, as far as just a straight bet, I would again, I might just even if Vitality go down like 0-5 at the start, TYLOO gets off to like a 5 map or a 5 round lead, the odds aren't going to really be bettable for Vitality. I bet you it won't go down to anything lower than like minus 250 at that point. Still, they could probably be down 0-10, and it would probably still be minus 150 for Vitality. So I I mean, maybe if it was plus 2,000 for TYLOO or something off the start, Vitality gets to a 3-0 start and you can get a live bet, it might be worth it to throw a couple dollars for any of these stomp matches because I'm sure the underdogs are going to go up like crazy. So if you can, Sprout versus Heroic, TYLOO, if you can get like, plus 1,500 and you want to throw like a dollar or two on that, it could be worth it to just, take a shot. But like, I wouldn't really invest, especially because these are best of ones. I really wouldn't lay down like a lot of money, a lot of chalk money on Vitality. It's just going to be too expensive and there's just no value there. I think the only way to really play these is with a parlay or to just, like I said, try to grab some good odds live. So with that said, that's going to be mostly everything here. Let's take a look here. Okay, and here you can see we have all the matches for the day here. At least the opening matches. There'll be more matches after this, but these are the first matches here. So I think the play here would be to maybe do a small parlay. I think big is, we went over that. It's a, order is just, they're orders of magnitude below big. Like there's just no way that they can stand up to the firepower, especially with the form that they're in and the amount of just the detail. Gob B, the coach, it's too much. So I would say big. I'm gonna avoid Astralis. Something about this is just freaking me out. The minus 435 Astralis. I don't know. Um, I would say big, Vitality, and Spirit. I would say that's a solid three-leg parlay. Um, maybe a couple units, maybe one unit. Um, it's just really hard to imagine big losing to order. Well, I mean, that's almost impossible to imagine, but it's really hard to imagine Vitality losing to TYLOO. That would be shocking, especially with Zaiwu. It's just for his own uh, reputation. He has to stop these guys. And then Spirit versus Complexity. I mean, you just got to bet on Complexity to just be absolute garbage as they've shown, and for Junior to have zero impact and miss every sitter that he's given. Um, Spirit with Magix and Patsy, I think that they're just gonna completely overwhelm them. So minus 137, that's pretty, that's a pretty good line. That's pretty good value for these three teams that I really I don't see an upset potential. So that might be a nice one. It also might be worth it just to throw. I'm just curious how much it is. Like we were saying off the bat, most of these matches, there's a pretty clear favorite. Like, barring the extenuating circumstances that we were talking about, some, things that need to happen, some win conditions for the specific underdog teams, all the favorites really should take this. They're all lined up to take this. So let me see here. A cheeky degenerate. What is this? 8 picks. There you go. Throw a dollar on that. Maybe take out, maybe switch. What are we looking at here? Where's Outsiders? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, maybe switch out one of these if you're feeling maybe Astralis for 0-0 Nation. If you want to throw 0-0 Nation in there and get better odds or something, maybe throw a dollar on this. Like, these kinds of best of ones where it's like huge stomp matches, you can see all the favorites win these matches. I don't think that that's going to happen, that every favorite will win, but, if you want to get super degen about it, um, I would probably just go with the favorites, really. Um, but yeah, I'm going to say a nice, safe three-leg parlay would be big, Vitality, and where the hell are they? Oh my goodness. Team Spirit. And you get minus 137 on that. Other than that, I would play live odds. We talked about these matches are kind of dangerous to bet a lot, like pre-match. The odds can swing like pretty quickly. So you're laying down a ton of chalk here on outsiders, and they go down 2 rounds, and now you have even odds on them. I would probably just wait. and it is a best of one as well. So I don't like laying down a lot ahead of time anyway, just because you never know what the server conditions are going to be like, how it plays out. Sometimes, you expect one team to completely dominate, and you can tell within a couple rounds that the other team is just firing on all cylinders and they're looking sharp, and it's not what you thought it was going to be. And now you're locked in. You got, 3 units at terrible odds when you could have just waited and had 1 unit on it, risks much less and get more value. So I would play maybe a small parlay and then do some live odds. And I think that's going to be it, boys. So if you like this, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more content. And sorry, this was a little bit forced, some of it. I'm trying to get all my thoughts out here. I'm just starting to work on this. So if you want more content, I'm going to be covering a lot of events coming up. I'll be doing fantasy picks, going over some fantasy strategies, how to pick players, and what you want to look for. Teams important, things like that. You really want to have like players off of teams that you think are going to go deep and even win the tournament. So we'll be covering some of that. I probably won't get around to fantasy for the play-in, but for the group stage, we'll make a team and we'll go over that. Um, yeah. So like I said, that'll be it. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know in the comments. If you liked it, let me know. It all really helps, just the engagement with the algorithm and getting this thing going. So appreciate you guys, and look forward to more content. Thank you.